Okay, so coming back to this again video, we're going to discuss about adding E6i servers into the vCenter now, which means we're going to control the E6i server from the vCenter. Okay. So yes, let's continue now. I'm just going to take already I have a screenshot of the video. Okay, so we have the screenshot here. So the plan is very simple. So first, let's go and start this E6i device, and fully think. This guy will get this IP address only 1.101. Maybe I'll give a static IP on this device also, and we're gonna give the static IP on this device. So this is the same IP address. Even they get the IP address, even they get the same IP from the DHCP. Still, I would like to change it to static so that it doesn't get changed next time it reboots. Okay, let's start the ESXi device, ESXi1 as well as ESXi2. Okay, just give a small gap between ESXi1 and ESXi2. Maybe some 10 seconds would be sufficient. Now let me start ESXi2. Okay, so let me pause the recording until they start. Okay, so I should have the ESXi 1 and 2 ready by this time. So let's go and configure a static API on ESXi 1. So you can see it has already got a DHCP IP of 1.101. So if you are okay with DHCP, but fine, but also I'll tell you how to configure static IP also. So the default username password is root and then VMware. Can you see this screen here? Can you VMware? That's the password. VMware 1 and then exclamation. Okay. Yes. So now let's go and customize setting. So configure manage network. Can you see here? So it's got a DHCP IP address of network adapters. I'm just checking the network adapters. And for VMNIC only we are right now talking about, right? So yes, so VMNIC is what E0, right? That's the NIC one. That's the first NIC that is connected. For that only, for this VMNIC only we have got an the IP address of 1.101. Right? Let's go and change that to IP4 configuration. So instead of having DHCP, I'm just going to go and have static. So yeah, so when you set on static, it automatically fills the same IP that it got from DHCP server, right? It's not clearing those IPs. So when it was dynamic, it has got 1.10 only, but when you set the static also, it is auto filling the same IP address, so we don't have to configure it again. That's a good thing. Let's give enter and go to IPv6. IPv6, I'm just disabling it. Yeah, so I'm disabling it. Next is, okay, I think I didn't disable it. Let me disable it. Enter. And then DNS configuration. So primary DNS server 8.8.8.8. Okay, good. Let's give escape. It says, I want to, it's asking to reboot the host. Okay, I think since I've disabled IPv6, that is the reason it's asking for reboot. So I don't want to reboot the device because if I reboot again, it will take some time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give no, and I'm going to have the IPv6 enabled itself. Right, we'll have IPv6 enabled itself. We don't have to change that. Okay, let's go and okay, so let's go and check it one more time. Okay, so let me set it again. Okay, IPv6 configuration default, leave it, don't change it. 8.8.8. Okay. Okay, so let's give escape now, and it will ask for no, this time it's not asking for the reboot. It's asking to restart the network alone, so that the host is not going to reboot. So just the network will go down and come up, but that's okay. Give S, shift Y. Okay, so now I have the IP address, and it is a static API, right? So it's not a DHCP IP address. Okay, so let's go and go back to the home page. So now it says 1.101, it's nothing but a static IP address of this device. So now since it is static, even if you reboot the device, of the DHCP server is not available, all those things, it will always take the IP address of 1.101. Okay, let's go and add the device. So 1.101, I'm going to add this 1.101, which is this guy, into this vCenter, so that we can control the 1.101 from the vCenter. Okay, let's go and right click, new data center. Let me go and click on data center called anything you would like to have, it's fine. So I'm just giving it as Chennai data center because I have a couple of servers in Chennai. So it is kind of trying to mean like that. So we create a data center. Data center is nothing but a place, so where you have the data center. So Chennai data center, inside Chennai data center, we're gonna have a couple of devices. So the first host I'm going to add is 192.168.1.101. I know it's nothing but ESXi server 1. Let's give next. So username password, it's asking for the username password to authenticate. So username is root, the password is vmware 1 exclamation. And it's asking, you want to believe this device? I say yes, I want to believe this device. Okay, next, license, all these things are default case, don't change anything. Okay, just default, default, default. Okay, let's go and see, it's disconnected right now because it will fetch some information. After that it will be available. Okay, so if you see, what we are trying to do is we are trying to access the vCenter. From the vCenter, we are trying to control the ESXi, right? So now a single point of contact is vCenter. So from vCenter, I can contact ESXi, create some virtual machines. ESXi2, I can create some virtual machines, change network adapters. Anything can be done from the vCenter. Okay, okay, let's go and do that. So now what I'm going to do is let's go and see. See, there is a warning that I see here. If I click on, no, if you refresh this, you can see the warning is nothing but it has got SSH has been enabled, some basic warning. It's not an error, it's a warning. So we can click on suppress warnings. Yes, and I'll refresh this so it will go away. So I'm just refreshing it, so it should go away anytime now, but that's okay, right? Even if it's showing, it's not a problem. Okay, let me go and proceed. Okay, it's going one by one, it's going. Okay, let's go and proceed on creating some virtual machines. Okay, so first of all, I would like to go and add a storage, right? So in the ESXi one device, I don't have any data store in it, right? It doesn't have any data store where I can go and install some OS and all. So I'm going to add the data store. Like this is something, the same thing that we did on the ESXi directly. We are trying to do it from the vCenter now. So new storage, new data store. Okay. So yes, I want to have it as a VMFS format only. So let's give next. Okay, it says 100 GB. That's what I would like to take here. Next. Okay, I can give the data store name as ESXi1 data store 1. Okay, fine. So we'll go next. Yes. Okay, I'm going to use a complete 100 GB. Next. Okay. So yes, it has been added. Now what we'll do is, guys, let's go and click on action, and then sorry, I think I'll go to data stores. So there you see there is a data store called ESXi1 data store 1, in which I'm going to upload the files. Okay. So in the last class, when we were trying to access the ESXi directly, what I was doing was trying to add the tiny core machine, and then the Ubuntu machine, no, that is Xubuntu. We had that as a ISO image. We installed everything on ESXi1, and then we got that Xubuntu device available, and the installation alone, it took some 30-40 minutes for 30-40 minutes of time. So now what we'll do is, instead of having it as ISO this time, I'm going to have OVA. I have OVA for tiny core, and I have OVF for Xubuntu. So which means you don't have to go through the process of installing them at all. So just you can import, and then it will be ready. Right? So yes, so I have the OVA and then OVF machines in the CD-ROM. If you see, Xubuntu OVF is there. So these are the files that we would like to have, and I think these two files, vmdk and then OVF, these are the two files. And next thing is yeah, so I would like to have this tinycode.ova. Okay, so yes, now let's do this. So I'm going to add. Okay, so before that, what we'll do is, guys, so because now when I'm going to add them, I have to configure those adapter settings and all. So before that, we'll decide this. So this is a diagram that I created while I got that ESXi device is ready. So in ESXi1, we already have something called the virtual switch 0, right? So that switch is there, and by default it will have this VMnet, right? And the VMnet will have internet access because it is connected to the virtual switch, and virtual switch has got an uplink of NIC 0. Okay, so this is already there, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and create this. Right? In vSwitch, I'm going to create a new port group. This is nothing but a port group, which we already discussed in the class, port group. And this is going to be a sales port group, and this is going to be IT port group, and we're going to have vSwitch 1 for it. Okay, so let's go and create that first. Okay, I'm going to go to the if you go to the virtual machines host, and here I'm going to go and click on configure, and there you can see virtual switches. By default, there is a virtual switch called virtual switch 0 is there, right? I'm going to create one more virtual switch, which is virtual switch 1. Okay, so I'm going to create a standard virtual switch. So yes, I'm going to create a standard switch. This is a port group switch. I'm just going to give next. And what is the no, we're going to select an existing switch. No, we're not going to select an existing switch because we're going to create a new switch which is going to have port group of sales and IT. Okay, so see, this is a way of creating port groups in ESXi, guys. I mean, this is a way of creating port groups on vCenter. So when you target the ESXi directly, in the last class we were targeting the ESXi, right? So in that case, we created a different way of creating a virtual switch was there, different way of creating a port group was there. But since we are contacting vCenter now, it's completely different user interface. You know how you create a port, how do you create a virtual switch, and how do you create a port groups and all, right? So yes, now I'm gonna say existing, no existing standard switch. I'm just gonna create a new one, and I'm gonna give next. Okay, so do you want to have any uplink for this? No, we don't have to have any uplink for this. I'm just giving next because we're gonna have the virtual switch one as a normal standard switch without any uplink, right? Okay, next connection setting. It says no physical adapter is connected. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So what is the label that you would like to give, right? So already there is a in V switch 0 there is there is a the port group called vmnet. So now we're going to create this is we are talking about this virtual switch right now. We're going to create sales port group. So let me give a name called sales, right? And what is a VLAN that we planned for them is 10, right? So it's going to be 10. So instead of having it as none, I'm just going to give 10. Okay. Okay, next. Done. So we created a virtual switch. Also, we created a port group inside it. Okay, let me create one more port group. This is going to be again a virtual machine port group from a standard switch. This time, what I'm trying to do here is, guys, I'm trying to create an IT department or IT VLAN on the same virtual switch, which is vSwitch 1. Okay, so don't create a new switch. We're just going to use the same switch only, vSwitch 1. So this time I'm not going to create new one. I'm going to choose the existing switch. Browse. If you click on browse, it will show you the vSwitches that we have. vSwitch 1 is what I'm going to select, and I'm going to give next. And I'm going to say what is the name of this guy. This guy is going to be name is IT, right? IT VLAN, and we're going to have a VLAN of 20 here. Okay, next. Good. Okay, so we have sales VLAN and we have IT VLAN. So IT VLAN is there, sales VLAN is there. IT 10 and IT is 20, sales is 10. Okay, so now yes, so we're gonna create one more VLAN that is for the internet purpose, right? So we're gonna create a separate port group which is going to be for internet, right? Maybe we can use vmnet also. That is what we used in the last class. But this class I'm gonna create a new port group called internet, so that we don't use the default vmnet. We are just going to create a new port group and use that for internet access, right? Let's go and create an internet port group on vSwitch 0. So I'm going to click on add networking. Yes, a virtual machine port group for a standard switch. Next is going to be select existing switch, and I'm going to choose vSwitch 0 because we're going to create internet port group. Internet port group should be on vSwitch 0 only because vSwitch 0 has got a external connection. Okay, it is connected to the physical adapter, right? Let's give next, and then int, or you can put it as internet also. Internet, let me put it as internet. VLAN, it's going to be, see, we're not going to have any VLAN for this, right? There is no VLAN for this guy, right? So this guy doesn't, no, these guys are not in VLAN's case, only these guys are in VLANs. So they don't have any VLAN, so I'm not going to give any VLAN number over there. So VLAN is none, internet. You will give next. Okay, done. Okay, so the plan is we created vSwitch 1 and vSwitch 0 from the ESXi, from the vCenter. We created vSwitch 1 and vSwitch 0. vSwitch 0 is already there, but we created a port group of internet in vSwitch 0. Now what we'll do is we'll go and, we're going to add virtual machines over here. So yes, let me go and add a virtual machine. So I'm going to create a TinyCore 1 here and TinyCore 2 here. This is going to be in VLAN 10. This case is going to be in VLAN 20. And I'm going to have a Linux machine which is going to act like a router here. Right? And this router is going to have 3 adapters. So one is going to be connected to the internet port group. One is going to be connected to the sales group. One is going to be connected to the IT port group. Right? So we'll have the IP address for these guys is 10.1, 10.2, 20.1, 20.2. and then this is going to be the DHCP, right? So we'll just leave this as DHCP. So this interface is going to be DHCP, so that now we can get the IP address from the DHCP server that we have over there. Okay, so I'm kind of explaining this topology only, guys. So all we are doing it is everything is inside this ESXi, right? So this ESXi is what I have drew here, right? You can see. Okay, let's go and create, let me go and do this now. So the point is we're going to create two tiny core machines and we're going to have one router. Okay, so we'll go to the data store, not to the data store. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and click on this virtual machine and then deploy OVF template, right? This is what, because we have the OVF image already, so it's going to do OVF template. So I'm going to click on local and I'm going to choose. So you go to the CD-ROM here, my computer, and then CD-ROM. So we have TinyCore OVA. So we'll just deploy TinyCore OVA first because it is a small device. Okay, so next. So it says YVM. I don't want that to be YVM. Let me give TC. So TC. And also I'm going to give it as 10.2. So 10-2. So we can understand what it is. Okay. It says invalid name. Maybe I don't know why. Let us give, let's get rid of this hyphen and give underscore. Why it is not accepting? Okay, I think now accepted. Let's give hyphen again. Okay, I think it's accepting, right? Okay, so TC hyphen 10-2. So it's just nothing but 10.2. So we'll put it as TC1 also. Or maybe sufficient TC itself sufficient. No need to add TC1. So TC 10.2, which is nothing but 10.8, right? It's a tiny core device. So it's going to be on Chennai data center, right? And yeah, so it's going to be in the Chennai data center. So in Chennai data center, it's going to be in this 1.101 device. So it's validating. Okay, so it says few things over here. I'm just going to give next and select storage. So it's basically thick provisioned. I'm just going to make this thin provisioned. Okay, so this is the data store, ESXi1 data store 1. Next, select networks. So this guy is going to be in IT. Sorry, this guy is going to be in sales, right? So according to our diagram, if you see, so we are deploying this guy, 10.2. So this guy is in sales department, which is in VLAN 10. So sales, next, finish. Okay, so now let me deploy one more this case. So OVF deployment. Okay, so local file, TinyCore OVA. Next. So again, this guy is going to be a TC 20.2, and this is the ESXi. This is the data center, and then giving next. So this is the host, ESXi host, and it will validate. It will take a couple of minutes. Okay, so next. So thin provision. Okay, so it's going to be of IT, right? So the first one is sales, the next one is IT. Okay, good. So finish. Okay, so we have TC 10.2 and TC 20.2. Good. Now let's go and deploy that router also. Router is nothing but the Xubuntu machine that we have here. So Xubuntu. Okay, yes. So let's go and add this guy. So right click, OVF deployment. We don't have to go with the installation process here because we are just deploying the install image. So I'm just going to choose this guy and this guy. You don't have to choose the first one. Right, that guy, that router ovf.swap, that's not required. So these two images are sufficient, router.ovf and disk1.vmdk. So these two files I'm selecting, two files selected. Let's go next. Okay, it's asking for the name. I'm just going to put it as router, let us put it as router 1 for now. Next. So it's going to be on this device, Chennai data center, this ESXi server, reviewing. Okay, it will validate. Okay, so yes, it takes 16 GB thick provision, but anyway, we'll change it to thin provisioned. So storage, I'm just gonna make it as thin provisioned. Next. Okay, so what is this guy? This guy has got three adapters, right? So this machine has got three adapters: VM network 1, 2, and then the VM network. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, guys, let's go and I'm not gonna change anything right now. So what I'll do is I'll go and give next, and then I'll change it later. I think VM network 1, 2. Okay, let's give next. Right? You don't have to worry about these things now. Okay, so let's get deployed first, right? So can you see the status here? This deploy OVF template, right? See, it will be 0% only. See, I've noticed it already. I've tried it, so it's gonna. So what's gonna happen is, guys, now our Windows machine, this guy is uploading a huge file, right? So the file size alone 3 GB. The 3 GB of file should be uploaded from the Windows machine to the ESXi server, and after the ESXi server have to import it, and then it have to export into an image, right? So it will take some time. So I've tried this already before doing this lab. It took somewhere around 10 minutes for me, so around 10 minutes to get this done. And meanwhile, you'll not see any percentage update here, so don't panic if you're not seeing any percentage. If it is 0%, don't click on cancel and do it again and all. Don't do that. So it'll be 0% only, but suddenly after 10 minutes of time you can see it is going to 100% and things will get completed. Okay, so since it's a huge file, it will take some time, guys, so you have to be patient, wait for it, because this 10 minutes of time is far better than installing the OS directly, right? So let's go and um, wait for 10 minutes of time, and then once it is done, we can resume. Okay, guys, so after some 10 minutes of time, I got this OVF image deployed. Okay, let's go and start. So right now, this is what we have. Okay, so we have a router image, we have this tiny core 1 and tiny core 2, right? So now let's go and start this. I mean, before starting this guy, we'll go and set up this adapter setting, right? I want this to be internet. So I want this to be internet, and I want this guy to be sales, because that's where sales is connected. I want this to be internet and sales, and then this is going to be IT. Let's go and change the adapter. Let's go and click on this router and then configure. Okay, I think where is that guy? Maybe we'll go with edit setting. So here network adapter 1 is going to have internet. So I'm just going to choose internet, and the network adapter 2 is going to be sales. Browse, and then choose IT. Okay, so I think now you want to connect all of them. So let's give okay, and they are ready. Now let me start this guy. So I'm just going to start this router, which is the Ubuntu machine. So now when you start, you should be able to see this guy having the IP address of DHCP IP somewhere in 1.0 network 1.0/24, because this DHCP server this DHCP client, which is a router, will hit this internet port group, and from the internet port group it will reach this NIC 0. From there it will reach to the DHCP server. Okay, let's confirm this, what IP address he has got. Okay, I'm clicking on launch web console. So see, guys, this is something that I want to tell you guys. When you click on launch web console, it won't open it, because the reason is, if you see here in the corner, the pop-up is blocked, right? Which means this Chrome is blocking this pop-up. You have to click on this and allow pop-up, right, for this website. Click on done, and then next time when you click on this launch web console, it will open that, right? Okay, so the Ubuntu machine is loading. Okay, so meanwhile, I think I need to start, because see, we have 1.101. 1.102 is going to be this guy. This is what we planned for him. but because of DHCP, I think this guy will be 1.102, I guess. Okay, let's see. Anyway, if this guy is 1.102, we can change this IP address of this guy. Okay, so I'm there. Let's click on terminal. Okay, so let's give ifconfig. Okay, I think, yeah, so he has got 1.103. I don't know who's 1.102 then. Okay, he's got 1.103. Okay, that's fine. That's good news because I was expecting him not to get 1.102. He has got 1.103. So the VM machine that we have inside this ESXi1 has got 1.103. Okay, let's go and configure 1.103. Let's go and configure the other interfaces, which means we have to configure 10.1 for this guy and 20.1 for this guy. Same thing only, guys, right? Nothing different, but we are doing it in a different way. So this is something that you guys already know, right? This is the same VM machine that we are using on the ESXi device also, right? Let's configure this IP real quick. Okay, so I think the command is sudo ifconfig eth. Sorry, it's not eth. It's ens 192.168.10.1. Sorry, 10.1 netmask. It's going to be 255.255.255.0 and then up. Okay, so password for ng is a ifconfig ens 192. Okay, yes, this guy has got IP address 10.1. Now let's go and configure the IP address 20.1. Okay, so let's check that also. 224. Oh, what did I do? Oh, sorry guys, I made a mistake. Okay, I was about to change this. Okay, see what I did is I just know for this ENS 192 I configured this 20.1. So sorry, it should be 10.1 again, and 20.1 is for this guy. So if you go with ENS 224, then it's going to be 20.2. Okay, so now let's try ENS 224. If this guy is 20.1 and this guy is 10.1. Sorry, I think okay, 10.1. Good. So we have these two IP addresses configured properly. The next thing is we have to configure the routing. Sudo. So I think let me go with su. Password is a. Okay, and let's go and put echo 1 slash proc slash sys slash net ipv4 slash ip forward. Okay, good. So this will enable the forwarding. Okay, so let me check one more time ifconfig whether they have the IP address properly or not. Okay, the IP address have gone. IP address is not there. Okay, so yes, so this happens. Let's try one more time, guys. So I'm going to give the same command. So let me exit from this root account and I'm going to give the same command 10.1, and then now I can see that connection established message over there, and then 20.1. Okay, so yes, so now both are connected. Okay, see, this is sometimes, for the first time it's not taking the IP address. I don't know why. Maybe you can try it one more time. Okay, so let's go and check this now. Okay, so the final thing is I would like to configure these two devices, right? These two devices, and we have to check whether they can talk to each other or not. Okay, so yes, let's go and do that. I'm gonna go to this tiny core 10 point. Let me start this guy. Power on. Okay, so it's taking some time. Okay, still starting. Okay, I think they should be ready now. Still it's loading, guys, please wait. Okay, so now let's go and configure this. Sudo ifconfig eth0 192.168 10.2 netmask 258.258.2.0 and then up ifconfig. So yeah, this guy has got 10.2 IP. So since he is in VLAN 10, so since this guy is in VLAN 10, so 10.2 should be able to talk to 10.1, right? Okay, let's try that. Ping 192.168 10.1. Good, it's working. Good. So now the next thing is we have to go and configure 20.2. So 20.2 is also ready right now. So right now I'm in 20.2. So sudo ifconfig eth0 192 dot sorry 192.168.20.2 to netmask 258.258.2.0 and then up. Okay, ifconfig 20.2 is there. Let's clear the screen and ping 20.1. Okay, good, it's working, guys. Fine, fantastic. So yes, next thing is I need to check whether they're able to talk to each other or not, right? So if they want to talk to a different network, right, as we already know, so if you want to talk to a different network, then of course you have to have a default gateway on these two devices. So for this device the default gateway is 10.1 and for this device it's going to be 20.1, right? Okay, and also since we enabled that forwarding, IP forwarding on router, so we should be able to reach the other network easily. Okay, let's go and configure default gateway. So right now I'm in 20.2. So default gateway is going to be sudo route add default gateway 192.160.10.1 10.1 and then the interface is going to be eth0. Oh, what it says, reachable. Get me. Oh, sorry. I think it should be 20. Right, I'm on 20. I'm on 20.2 device. Right, it should be 20.1. Okay, so I gave the wrong default gateway, so it says network is unreachable. Anyway, so just warn me, it's not possible. So I made it as 20.1. Let me go back to 10.2 and make it as sudo route add default gateway 10.1 and then the 10.1 and eth0. Okay, good. So now I'm in 10.1. You can see ping 192.168.20. I'm in 10.2. You can ping 20.2. Good, it's working. Right. Finally, we need to check whether internet is working or not. So in order for these devices to reach internet, we have to configure network address translation on the router. So in the previous class, we were configuring this kind, we are configuring this router. We created a static route for 10.0 and 20.0. So instead of doing that way, let us go and create a network address translation. Okay, so in order to do the network address translation, we go to the router. Okay, so we have to give IP tables hyphen. I forgot the command actually. Just give me a minute, guys. Okay, so yes, so this is a command IP tables hyphen t nat hyphen a post routing. See, I just searched for IP tables to add NAT, and I got the second link, this guy, and you can see this is where the command that we are looking for is. Right now, it also has given the descriptions also here. Right, so let me go and configure this. Okay, so let's go and configure the IP tables hyphen T for table, and then NAT, right? NAT hyphen A, right? This is going to be capital A, so please use it the same case post routing. Okay, and I would like to add the interface, right? If it is going out of this interface, here it is ETH1, so here it is ETH1, but in our case it is nothing but this is ENS, right? So this guy is ENS 160. So if the packet is going out of this interface, then the real IP address of the device should be hidden, and we have to take the DHCP IP, which in our case it is 1.103. 1.103. Okay. So post routing hyphen O, sorry, hyphen small o, and then ENS 160, and then hyphen J masquerade. I think it should be in capital. Masquerade. I think I might be wrong with the spelling. Masquerade. Masque. It should be here. Okay, masquerade. Okay, I think I need to give it with sudo permission. Sudo. Okay, good. So we have configured it. Now I should be able to reach internet. So ping 88888. Good, internet is working. Perfect. So yes, guys. So that is what I did on the first ESXi server. The same thing you can do it on the ESXi 2 also, right? The same thing, right? You can do it on ESXi 2, and the same thing you can get the router image here, and you can have two interfaces of the router connected to HR and dev, and then you can have TC3, which is 30.2, and we're gonna have TC4, which is 40.2, right? And that can be done by adding the ESXi 2 into the vCenter, right? The same concept only, nothing has changed. Let us go and start I think ESXi2 is already started, right? Okay, let's go and try this. So I'm gonna add ESXi2. So add host ESXi. Okay, sorry, it's asking for the host name, right? So host name or IP address is 1.10. Let me check that IP address first. Okay, it has got 1.102. That's a DHCP, but you can change it to static. The password is vmware, one exclamation, this password, right? The one that you see here. Okay, let's give function F2 to configure the management network. So in IPv4 configuration, I'm just going to say set static, and DNS is going to be 8.8.8. Okay, good. So let's give yes. Okay, so let's give escape. Okay, now it has got 1.102, which is the static. Okay, let's go and add this 1.102 now. Let's give next. Username is going to be root. The password is going to be vmware, one exclamation. Okay, you want to believe this device? Yes. Next, 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 next. Okay, so we have this 1.102, and what we'll do is, guys, we're going to do the same setup here. So what we have done here, the same setup is what I'm going to do, but this time instead of uploading the image, so earlier we were uploading that OEF file, no, to create this router. This time what I'm going to do is I'm not going to upload the OEF file. Instead what I'll do is I'll clone it, right? So already we have this router, right? So from here, instead of uploading it, I'm just gonna clone it, so it will be even more faster than uploading the OVF file. So we'll clone it, and we're gonna get this router here. Same we will clone TC1 and TC2 also, so that we're gonna get those guys here. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, I think this guy is ready. Okay, so right now we don't have any virtual machines on this the CE6I2. So and also we need to create some virtual switches over there. So the same way how we created in the last E60 server. So click on next. We'll create something called in vSwitch we're going to create internet, right? So internet is going to be same on vSwitch as well. So internet. Okay, let's give next. Internet. It doesn't have any VLAN ID. Done. Okay, so let's create one more port group. Next. So we're not going to go with the existing switch. This time I'm going to create a new virtual switch. Create no uplink for him because it is vSwitch 0. Okay, so we're going to give him as we go back. Okay, so next. Okay, so okay, and this side we're gonna have vSwitch 1, and I'm gonna give HR to be in 30 VLAN, right? We'll give HR, and that's going to be in 30. Okay, so it is vSwitch 1. Finish. So we have vSwitch 0 and vSwitch 1. Okay, let me go and create one more. So this time again going to the, this time we're gonna create, sorry, not the new one. We're gonna choose the existing vSwitch 1, and we're gonna go and add this dev into it. So already HR, for HR we created a vSwitch. For dev the vSwitch is already created. Okay, so let's go and give dev. The VLAN is going to be 40. Okay, good. So fine. Now let's go and power off this guy. So we're just gonna power off this guy because we're gonna clone from that image. So yes, and also we'll power off this guy too. Okay, let me go and clone this guy first. Right click, clone to virtual machine. Okay, I think let me try again. So this guy has been not powered off. Let me try to power off again. Okay, I'm gonna clone this guy. Clone to virtual machine. I think something is wrong. It's loading. Let's wait, please.